Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader, Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our two guests. We have returning guests Chris Solis and Dave Lentz. We're here to break down A Flag to Fly issue 2 and everything in between with my cat spazzing out in the background. Welcome, everybody. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Doing good.
Here.
So I just brushed up on issue 1. For everyone watching, we will have the link to read that for free on Global Comics. And I forgot how much of a blast this series is, man. It's so much fun. There's so much humor, like just sprinkled like that. Maybe I missed the first time. And on a second read through, I was able to pick up a little bit more better. And I love everything about this. The artwork is gorgeous. Dave, were you the letterer for the first issue?
I was.
Yeah,
Suckered me into that first issue. Yeah.
I love everything about it. But before we dive too deep, let's go ahead and start with some introductions. Chris, we'll start with you first. Since you've been on, what's been up since last time? How did the campaign go for? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, no. I'm Chris Solis, a writer of A Flag to Fly. Fairly new comic book writer, trying to grade in here. Been starting off at Scott Snyder's Substack class, learning and meeting more people. Been making my own stuff past 3-4 years now, and this is my first real run at a mini series. It's a nice comedy adventure. I got really inspired by Tolkien and kind of his first expressions of fiction. Him starting off with a kid story in The Hobbit and then growing it to so massive, crazy fantasy was really inspiring, and I like that idea of shooting to kids but a little bit over their heads. So we're coming back again with the second issue, and this time it's a little bit more of the adventure. The first time we introduced all their characters, and now we're getting it going. It's a lot of fun. Lane Lloyd does our art. It's fantastic and super character work. Past that, I've been working in live music industry, so I go and set up festivals and stuff, and that takes up most of my time fighting off all those demons. But yeah, come back to comic books. It's really nice.
Comics and music fest. I memean, wow, what a horrible life, right?
Oh, it's so hard. Everything I do is just people's dreams.
Yeah, I never knew Tolkien did a kid's book first. That actually is really that's actually really surprising.
One. So yeah, I always like that idea that like he built everything around his languages, which is just crazy as hell. But then just like dipped his toe in, and even that had a battle of the 5 armies. So it's kind of what you do with it and where you're aiming. But I like the idea of like kids finding my work first and growing up with me. That kind of feel. It's good.
That is so cool.
It's good fit for comic books, especially. Yeah.
And then how did the campaign go for issue 1 since you've last been on?
Held on and got there by the skin of our teeth, and God bless everyone for getting us there. It was great. I had the book pretty much made. It was all for getting all the like shipping on all my little doodad stickers and all the rest of that stuff to get going, and then all the promotional stuff that I went into this campaign helped out a lot. And the fact that I was able to just go around with books and hand them out and show everybody was a godsend. Kickstarter is beautiful for that, for having all my publishing kind of taken care of. So I'm looking forward to doing it again. The community is great. I'm really hoping I can get us up there.
I love it. And then we have Dave on for the first time. Dave, you are a letterer. Go ahead and give us some of your previous works. And how did you end up getting into lettering?
Well, we'll start with that first, I guess. I've always been artistically inclined. I grew up wanting to be the artist. Everybody wants to be the Jim Lee, the Todd McFarlane, especially if you're old enough for those artists to be the ones that are gaining prominence when you first started reading comics. But eventually I found out that I wasn't any good. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I decided to go into graphic design. And after doing soul crushing coupon magazine work, design for, I don't know, like 10 years or something like that, a good buddy of mine was just like, well, you already know how to do graphic design. Why don't you try out lettering? It's like, well, that's stupid that I didn't think of that. So sure, why not? And then started catching on with a couple people, working on my lettering and getting smaller gigs until eventually I got more and more gigs. And now this is the job. So much like Chris, I'm living that rock star life.
Yeah.
So what are some of the previous titles that you've worked on?
That is a very long list. Let's see.
You could just knock out maybe a couple favorites if that's
Sure,
easier.
sure. Like let's see. Good Boy, Midnight Highway. On Kickstarter now is Horse and Hell. See how I dropped that in there. Homestead is also on Kickstarter. See how I dropped that in there. And obviously A Flag to Fly. That is on Kickstarter now as well.
And Global Comics. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, and we'll drop those links in the description when we can. So, as a letterer, you know, we were talking about this backstage. I often, you know, this is, I think, my 434th interview. Like, I rarely get a letterer on. And I often feel like they are kind of like some of the, the more unspoken heroes. Like, when you read a comic, you notice bad lettering right away. Like good lettering, it's like almost like you're just sucked in. You like, yeah. So what goes into achieving that? Like, I guess, if that's not too like weird of a question, like what goes into hitting that balance where it's just like a level where the reader just immerses himself within it, as opposed to something that's just going to stand out and maybe like be a little bit harder to read?
I mean, like that's the biggest part of the challenge, is actually just making sure that your work doesn't overshadow the story or the artwork. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it has to complement everything, and you have to, if the art is already doing its job in terms of flow, where it guides the reader's eyes, you will have to do less work, and it actually is sort of just becomes more plug and play when in terms of putting everything together, because you know you can see the natural spots where the lettering should go. So
what do you do when it's a little too wordy, or you know, maybe it's a little too hard to fit into a certain panel?
Oh, I yell
magic.
At people. Yeah.
No. Cut stuff away. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chop.
Absolutely.
I was looking really crowded, so I cut this back. Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
I'll just message him up. I'm just going to cut half of these words out of here.
Yeah.
They don't belong.
No.
Hopefully it makes sense.
With Alan Moore kind of feel of like, oh, I have all these words. I'll just cut them back when it comes time for art. That's fine. And that's what I was expecting anyway. And like, that's still a little bit long.
We're going to throw in a few abbreviations here and there. They're going to understand.
Yep. Everything turns into an acronym, TTFN. Ta-ta for now. That's it.
So, and not to dwell too long, it's just, I love asking questions. I love learning more about the craft in which I'm interviewing. So, with lettering, how do you find the different styles to fit the art? Like, what works best for you?
It's just a matter of looking, like taking a hard look at the artwork. Like, say if somebody's artwork is more like loose or flowy, like try to find like a font and a balloon style that complements it, where not every balloon is going to be perfectly spherical. It's going to have like some distress to it, maybe some like lopsided edges that add more character to it, and then just fits more seamlessly with the art.
And then, are you big on doing the sound effects yourself, or do you like to leave that for the artist?
There are a few artists that I trust to do it, and I'm okay with it, and then there are some that I don't.
And you kind of get the flex the artist muscle a little bit too on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave actually added a lot of the sound effects to issue 1. Like, I had a couple of things in there that Lane did really well, but a lot of the stabs and stuff that came later on in the comic, it worked beautifully, and just like rattling off the funniness of we're actually killing people. But it was so good just to have that little break of comedy each one, and I was all Dave, and just knowing that, oh yeah, this is kind of feeling flat. We can make it pop a little bit more. And it's just simple things like that go a long way, especially when you're staring at words all day long. You know how to make them pop out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you probably have to be like a wordsmith at this point, right? Like lettering for so long for so many different issues. So how did you two end up meeting? Like how did you guys end up joining forces for the first issue?
The fun of long ago. Probably like my first ever experience reaching out to people online was through Facebook groups, and Dave was actually one of the first ones to ever like respond and like just give me regular feedback of just like, oh yeah, you're actually doing this right. You're just looking for people. Good. What do you have? I showed him, my ideas and my pitch for it, my first script kind of run through, and I just kind of hit it off with him. We shot the shit and really kind of keyed in together. He ended up, I ended up hiring him to do some designs just for the character work, and they were just a complete ripoff of Venture Brothers. Just
Oh yeah, absolutely.
completely right there, and like it helped because it got me to see the characters and see like it's a bunch of little white boys running around. Maybe I should change this up a bit. So that worked out great because that gave me a more direction to go to. But just Dave opening up the community to me was really the biggest thing. And that got me started in looking for Scott's classes and everybody else that I met along the way. And really, that's the biggest thing, is just meeting people that want to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do, you start making them.
It really goes to show you just taking a few moments out of your day to kind of respond and put a little effort into it goes a long way, and
huge way. Yeah,
develops
exactly the reason why I wanted Dave to do these issues still, is because he was there.
That's so cool. That is awesome. So
that's how I end up in most of my relationships. I was just there, and then it just happened.
And I'm a chill, cool dude, so we just let the rest play out.
Yeah. Whatever happens, you know.
You got it.
So what is Flag to Fly about? Can you give us a little bit about maybe, issue 1, kind of where we're at with the story?
Yeah, it's kind of modeled after a regular hero's journey. We have a hero that wants to be more than he is, kind of lacking in a lot of things, but it kind of sets out in this world that's kind of slowly turning against its people. It was a nice British Isle kind of feel and late feudal era. There's knights, there's people living in the woods training, there's random just farm workers. What's the word I'm looking for? Peasants. There you go. A bunch of peasants like we are still. Just, nice. I don't want to say simpler times, but definitely different times of easier things. And now this king is slowly, after years abroad going to war, has come back to settle in his people and is kind of still a little crazy. So now he's starting to take it out on his people. One of his knight commanders is seeing that and has decided, I can't stand for this anymore. That's Bach. That's another one of our main characters that goes out and tries to start this revolution, but doesn't feel like they are a part of like the leadership. They don't see like people will look up to them. So they want somebody else to fill in the spot. And that's where they went to go find the character in our first issue, Leon, who is a noble. He owns his own castle, has his family set up really nice. And that's what Bach wanted them to lead the army so that way they could be the poster child of everything else. But in that, the king killed him. Really quick, nice mentor out of there. Simple hero journey, staple. You kill off the mentor.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, we look to his son, Leon, who's a little wacky, a little weird. And now they're kind of thinking, well, at least he still has the noble name, so let's take him. And along with a pal sorcerer, Shin, Bach is now taking Leon on the road to see if they can kind of push him up and encourage the people to, again, turn on the king, who's about to wipe them out or enslave them as an army.
And that king is crazy. I mean, he has his family was turned into hamsters, and he kept them as pets.
He's gone through war. He has plenty of reasons why he's that crazy. But yeah, definitely he's seen his time. He's living alone in a castle, just servants beckoning his call. And yeah, his family, complete family, turned to hamsters. We got a nice peek of that in the second issue.
I love Zilla as well. The iguana, the purple iguana.
Yeah, that was a nice little nod. Just fun things that I could throw in there. The fact that Shin is doing all this magic and then just gets to feed his lizard. It was a beautiful little scene.
So, Dave, when you first read the script to issue 1, what was your initial thoughts?
Just that it was a lot of fun, and there's like lots of opportunities for humor with like the medieval stuff. Like Holy Grail is well, it's a holy grail. It's one of the best movies ever made, like regardless of the time period it's involved in. But it's definitely just like ever since then, it seems like medieval times and humor just go together.
Mm-hmm. I really loved the one scene in issue 1 where they had like the bounty and just like your script. I don't know if that was your lettering on it. I'm assuming it was, but like just how it was written out, and it was like hunted and was all spelled
literally written as draw it as if it was written with a crayon.
Yeah, I think it was such a perfect touch.
Perfect. Add stink lines. I was like, yeah, that's it.
So
I love that.
I mean, issue 1, we meet Bach. Bach has a badass sword, by the way. Are we going to see a lot of badass swords in this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted it to kind of grow with the audience. So like the first one is really just the introduction to the characters. Later on, we get to more of the fantastical stuff of the island. There's some cyclopses, a couple of dragons in the forge. We get to go see a really badass army encampment. They have amazing weaponry and stuff there. Like ninja, as like the assassins of the kings are their top of the top, and those are the really sick looking ones that have all their independent weapons. And then we get to see a little broader bit once we get to the army and how they all do other stuff. Awesome things of just medieval feel, you know.
I love the
fields
assassins.
Of armies and awesome armor. Yeah.
When they popped up, it was like, holy crap, who are these guys? And their designs. I mean, what was some of the inspirations for this series?
You know, a lot of that design work is all Lane. Like, I gave him pretty simple kind of instructions of like, oh, I kind of want him to look like ninja meets Viking kind of motif. And that's what he came up with. Every one of those faces that came up, like individual wise, is all his design. And I loved it. I loved that they were all their own. They weren't just a broad faced bad guy, you know, knocked out in one punch and taken out.
So are your scripts pretty loose, you would say, like with the guidance and direction you give your artist?
Starting up, like now meeting all these different artists, I really try to tailor to them. Try to have conversations now with them beforehand. Like when I started this, it was just, here's the script, let's go. But now, like talking to more people, it's kind of like, well, what do you want to draw? What do you like drawing? All those kind of feels. And then I know like what I can let just, oh, here's the simple, like them flipping over stuff. Whatever you add in the background's cool. And now more and more, it's kind of like, well, I know that they don't really care to do these things. So let me go into detail here. And it's just kind of getting a feel for who you're working with, the collaborators themselves, more than what I think I want to put or interject. It's just what's going to make it really stand out.
And so, Dave, when you go to work on a series like A Flag to Fly with lettering, you know, what type of environment do you like to put yourself in? Do you like to listen to any background noise or music, or, you know, how do you work when you're lettering?
It depends on the day. I mean, like that's when I can watch my shows. I can watch. I can pay attention to about 50% of them. So, you know, like not, you know, 50% of the show is just 50% of the actual show. That's how much knowledge I have. So like, do you remember this bit that you watched? I'm like, no, I do not. My buddies will be talking to me about show. I was like, yeah, wasn't this part cool? I was like, sure. I mean, why not? I mean, like, but other times it'll be music. I mean, metal, punk, hardcore, stoner, any of those fun things.
Okay. All right. I mean, we're about to open up the pit here in just a few seconds and check out this campaign. So guys, let's go ahead and swing over. We're going to pull up Kickstarter for A Flag to Fly issue 2. So let me get that added, and we're going to put the link in chat. Guys, feel free to drop this on Twitter and Facebook. Word of mouth is 100% free and it costs nothing to do. But if you have some moolah, feel free to drop it on this campaign. Yeah.
Oh, hey, we reached 20. Sweet.
So we are looking at A Flag to Fly issue 2, Sword in the Stone meets Games of Thrones. Things start to get wild on the Isle of Solomon as part 2 of A Flag to Fly goes into marketplace missteps. I love that title. That's almost a tongue twister right there.
I like trying to keep it interesting. You know, subtitles are always the fun part. You know, you give people little hints of stuff. And
so we're currently looking at $640 of a $5,000 goal, 20 backers, and 29 days left to go. Just launched. How you feeling about the start?
Pretty good, actually. These are a lot of the early bird tiers going into the first week, so they're kind of the shorter realms, and we'll get into more of the bigger ones going up. But there's a lot of stuff to be offered, a lot of good things to go. Amazing art through all the artists that contributed to this. It's beautiful. Rob Jones did all of our logo work again. Everything here on the Kickstarter page, banner wise, is done by Rob Jones. Does some really good stuff.
You know, I think you were the one who introduced me to them, and because they did my logo for Keeping It Geekly. Yeah. So I think you were the one who introduced me, or something. It's crazy how Twitter works like that. But
yeah,
this
exactly.
is one gorgeous cover. Who do we have on it?
That would be our Crimson King, starting to play his masterful game of chess with our characters and his assassins, planning out his evil demise of the world around him.
And I really love how, like, it's like a chessboard, and like right here we have the assassins, we have Bach laying down. Is this a little bit of foreshadowing right here?
Yeah, very much so. It's just actually Lane did this cover first. I mean, like, this was going to be issue 1's cover. I'm like, that gives out a lot. Like, let's hold that back for, like, that's a perfect issue 2 cover wholeheartedly. It was like, yeah, you're right, actually. So we didn't color it or anything. We just held on to it. We had it as a preview in issue 1, so they knew that issue 2 was coming with something that cool. But now to see it all in color, it really makes it pop. It really makes him look maniacal. All the little characters down there look just spot on. Like, I would love to play with that chessboard.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of what, like a Jumanji like chessboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Little character stands. Yep.
And then again, who's this book targeted for? Like, what audience are you hoping to hit with it?
Yeah, like I said, it's a children's story. It has some low hanging fruit, but it's really fun, and it has jokes for everyone. And definitely, if you like the feel of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, this kind of takes that vein and just makes it fun.
And then here's a little bit of the preview from issue 1. We got Zilla right there. I love Zilla's design. That big old. It almost reminds me of what the Cheshire size. Yeah. Words. It's a little early for me. Not as early for Chris. Chris is a champ waking up at 7 to make it onto the show.
As I'm chugging my coffee over here.
Yeah, these interiors are absolutely gorgeous. Everyone watching right here is the link to check out this Kickstarter. Once again, share it with your friends and family. Don't let anyone miss out on this. You can read issue 1 for free. It's an awesome story. Issue 2 sounds like it's going to be just as crazy.
They really go into some fun stuff, and the more we get to open up the world and see things like Zilla, like just wandering around the island, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more interesting. But the story gets a little deeper. The story gets a little heavier as we go along. So it's still a lot more stuff to introduce and a lot of good things to go through.
I love it. So let's go ahead. Let's check out some of these rewards. Let's see what we're here back in today. So we have the early bird digital catch-up bundle for $10. That's going to end in 5 days. The digital flag.
Yeah, that gives you both issues. Just make sure. Yeah, issue 1 and 2 in the digital. In the early bird, we also have a physical 1 and 2 combo later on down the line. But yeah, go ahead and go through those guys.
And then we have the digital flag flyer. This is going to be issue 2 in PDF with your name in the credits. So a little thank you there with the early bird flag flyer. So a physical copy of issue 2, Marketplace Missteps. And then this is what, 22 pages?
Yeah, 22 pages plus back matter. So we usually get 24 or 26.
And then we have the early bird B flag flyer for 13, so you can get a variant cover, cover B, for $13.
Kara Huset is our variant cover artist. If you can show that anywhere, Jesus, it's beautiful. Oh, I think it's
hold on one second.
Yeah, right.
We'll scroll down. One. If it tells you how long I was out of the interview game for, I didn't know Kickstarter moved their thing, the reward, like on its own separate tab. So I was like scrolling down on a couple campaigns. I'm like, where's your guys' rewards at? Like,
you used to just hang out on the right side right there.
Yeah, this is a gorgeous cover. So who's here, right? Who are we seeing right here?
Yeah, this is our newest edition of characters, is the Merchant. And very unsure if he's a true friend of the cause, but he's joining the team. And right here we see his nice little introduction of a bowl of rice sitting on a pound of money.
And that hair, that luscious mane. You two have like the complete opposite going on.
I got to make it stand out from that Crimson King.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know.
Because Dave was not aware. I tried to hide it from him for so long.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? I'm never coming back on. So we have some awesome early bird tears going on. He's like, I'm putting the hat back on.
Nope. I was gonna leave it off, but not now.
So when you guys are washing your faces, how high do you go up? That's been the undying question I've always heard.
Right there.
Right there. So we have a flag flyer. This is the physical copy after the early bird. So you got a couple days to save a few bucks, but if you miss out, it's just 15, just a few bucks more. No big deal there.
Gives us a little incentive to just pick it up early.
And then we have the B, cover B for 15 as well. The digital catch-up at 15 if you missed the early bird. The grand flag flyer at 25. So what's this?
Oh yeah, you get the physical copy with cover A, but then it also comes with our mini set of prints, which in the bundles we go with just the 2. If you do an add-on separately, you get a 3rd enchantment by Puri Porman, Wren family portrait of Leon, Leong, and Eleanor, which is gorgeous work, and that'll be shown in the items a little bit later. But yeah, this first little sets just go into the little additions if you want them. So if you want to grab a full tier with just the prints, that's there. A full tier with just the stickers, you can do that. There you go. There's the Paris Portman portrait. That thing is gorgeous as well.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's going to be in our little print package that you can add on if you get the 3 of them all together.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And we'll scroll back over. We'll check out the. I hate how it resets. Kickstarter, if you're
Yeah,
watching,
all
leave it so I can do this easier, please.
Just a little bit.
All right, and then we have the Grand Flag Flyer Elite. What's in this bundle?
Which is just everything together. So you get the prints, you get the stickers, you get the cover. There should be coming up ones where you get signed covers by me, since I'm not going to mail them off to each individual creator. But you can take them along with you to conventions when you go meet Dave and have him sign up, you know, get a CGC graded one. That'll be great.
What conventions are you going to be at, Dave, if you want to shout out any?
Oh, none.
Yeah. Well,
Surprise.
Yeah.
I usually go wander around LA Comic Con.
I have an 8-year-old. I don't go to cons.
No, I feel that it is tough when you have kids to do the con stuff. I mean, I got 3, so it's almost impossible for me.
That's $1,000 in a day right there.
Yeah, we have Lord Flag Flyer, $50. So an awesome tier right here with great rewards. We got
that's one that gets you the signed copies.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the cons, they're not cheap, especially my 2 boys love Legos, so whenever they see like the minifigs, they gotta pick out the most expensive ones. It's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Lord Collector, this is a pretty big tier. What's this one include?
So this one gives you both covers, signed by me, and all the extras.
All right, so we have
Lane Lloyd's original art cover, and then Kara Huset's, and both of them glorious covers to get.
And for any retailers out there, we have the retailer flag flyers for $170, so you'll get 5 issues of each cover of issue 1, and then a Flag to Fly issue 2. Cover A signed by Chris as well.
Yeah,
so
actually, it's 12 comics altogether.
12
you get
comics.
5 of each cover, 1 issue 1 signed by me, and 1 issue 2 signed by me.
There you go. And then Lord Scribe premium tier as well. So I'm loving these names too, man. You're killing it.
I try to keep it in a nice little theme together. It's great. This one is your scripts. If you're one of those bibliophiles that love seeing it all written out and seeing what kind of went into it, this one offers you full printouts, signed scripts by me. So it's bundled, packaged, printed out, and it looks really nice. But it's issue 2 all together and issue 1 script.
And that's really, I think, from like a consumer standpoint, like if you're looking into getting into writing, that type of stuff helps because you could read the comic and read the behind the scenes scripts at the same time and see how it translated.
Love my absolute edition of The Killing Joke because it has Alan Moore's script in the back and it's long-winded as hell. And you see exactly all the crazy, brilliant work that went into it. But like that taught me so much. Some of the old trade paperbacks from Sandman, Neil Gaiman's scripts are back there, and those taught me a lot too.
So we have an awesome Commission Lord premium tier. So you get the sticker pack, an 8x10 digital commission from Lane. Yeah. And I got I want to say I have a Keeping It Geekly commission from Lane, and it's amazing. I love it.
Lane is out there working a lot and constantly just looking for people. You want him to draw anything, he'll do it.
Their Godzilla cover was just amazing.
Yes, it's like beautiful work. He has a Toxic Avenger stuff that I've seen. It's like, it needs more work. But yeah, as you can see by the previews there, he's got a lot of great talent in his character work, and anything that you can come up with, he'll do.
And then a character cameo, so you can end up in the series?
Yeah, we did this for the last one, and it worked out really well, but everybody chose the 3rd issue, so that kind of fizzled out on this issue 2 one. I didn't have anybody to put in here. But yeah, I give you the choice of who you wanted to be in the first Kickstarter between issue 2 or issue 3. This one is just issue 4, and you get to be in the Crimson Army, but you get to be in the comic book, and you get to see your pictures. Lane Lloyd would see you in his magical eyes.
I love it.
Also gives you all the good stuff and all the prints, all the stickers.
And then we have another heavy hitter, Creator Lord Editor premium tier. So what's in this one? $333.
So coming from the self-taught realm of comic books, it's like I went into classes a lot of web classes. And one of the best ones that I came away with was Shelley Bond's comic book editing class. Shout out to her. She's at Emerald City right now, but worked at Vertigo, did amazing work, Sandman, just phenomenal record, and really pointed out just how much collaborative work goes into comic books. Just like finding Dave and having him be a decent friend was an opener. Like really knowing an editor goes a long way. And making like a lot of people see it as somebody trying to come in and change your story. That's not what editors do. They just help you see what really works about it, helps you work on that, and tries to sweep away anything that's just cluttering up the mess. And I love them for it. And I think more people should take advantage of that and really work with editors. So in that, I just try to encourage people that are out there trying to work on their comic book to, hey, if you need an editor, here's a perfect way to dip your toe in. You get 2 rounds of editing on your script, 10 to 22 pages. Aubrey Lynn Jepson, our editor, both for this and other couple titles that I'm working on. She did also the Tales from the Cloakroom, Volume 1 editing. She's really well versed in a lot of that. She's also taken the class of Shelley Bond's. And it's just a great way to get your story to shine.
You know, it's so easy to kind of get in that train of thought where you don't see the errors or you don't see maybe the bump in the roads, and editors help make it more cohesive. They piece it together, you know, and
you're too busy like letting it fall fly and getting it all on page. Missing that one comma is not exactly on your to-do list until you're diving deep into it. So just having somebody able to scan it and be like, oh yeah, that there, you know, this.
I can't tell you, like, for Comic Book Yeti, how many times I went to do like an interview, and then my editor's like, you got like 40 errors, homie. You need to fix this fast. And I'm like, dog, like I didn't even see that. Like, we got Wells over on YouTube. Editors make you better. Hey, Wells, thank you for stopping in. I hope you're having a fantastic day as well. We just ended up going through this Kickstarter. So guys, I have a very important question. We'll start with Dave, since we kind of been letting Chris take the wheel. Dave, if anyone's on the fence about backing this campaign, what would you like to say to them to kind of help push them over that hump?
That I will personally come and push you over the fence. Because there's no reason not to. It's a lot of fun. I think Chris has crafted a really good story with this one, and I think there's not enough fun in comics anymore. We're still clinging to that weird grim and gritty realism of Dark Knight and Watchmen and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, those stories are amazing. They're some of my favorite stories ever. I have a created CGC Watchmen 1 on my wall, but there's not enough. I don't think there's enough fun, and this is a really fun book.
And then Chris, for you.
Pretty much exactly what he said. Yeah, like I grew up reading those Chip and Dale cartoon comic books. I love those things. It was great to have just comedy and a fingertip. And I don't know, Grant Morrison describes it as time travel. And like looking back, like that's exactly what I used to do. I used to just sit there and go through the stories over and over and back and forth. We're looking at the certain panels that I really enjoyed. And I love that. I love the art being like challenging and not just, oh, here's the grittiest thing you've seen today. Like, don't get me wrong, all those stories have their porn, and like I love them. I love those dark, really awesome superhero stories. But sometimes, again, I just want to laugh, read a comic book, and see some funny designs. And that's what this book really gave me really a chance to do.
So I want to thank you both for coming on, talking about A Flag to Fly In, everything in between. Before we let you go, I got 2 questions. Chris, you know the drill, but Dave, you're new to the channel, so I always love asking for a piece of advice. So Dave, once again, let's start with you. For anyone out there looking to be a letterer or looking to start, what would be just the biggest piece of advice you could offer them?
I would tell them to stay away. This is my job.
Find your own.
Find your own. No, if anybody's seriously looking into it, I think one of the best things I can tell them is to just look at how other people do it. Look at how other letterers do it. Not even necessarily me, because I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm lucky to know what I know. And just like see how they do things and just like take note of it. And it's no different than like, say, if you look at an artist and you really like their style and there are certain things that you want to incorporate into your own style. I mean, like, I think lettering is exactly the same thing, where you can just like learn from just looking. And if that's not enough for you, Nate, I never can pronounce his last name right, Nate Picos. Sure, Picos has a fantastic book on lettering that you can buy directly on his website.
Oh, that is awesome. We have Joey Galvez over on YouTube saying, is that Davey Lentz? Anything with Dave Lentz on it is worth a buy. So Joey over there on YouTube hyping you up. Chris.
Thank you, Joseph.
For you, for anyone looking to just get into script writing, you know, that can be a scary thing. You know, that could be something like that is they look at that and they're like, whoa, I don't even know where to even start. What would be your piece of advice to kind of help them, you know, be guided on it?
Yeah, like I brought up earlier, going just to any bookstore and trying to go through trade paperbacks, looking at that back material. A lot of them actually do have script write-ups, either 2-3 pages. But at least you get the format feel, get some stuff like that. Past that, you know, there's a lot of great books out there. I love Denny O'Neil's book, comic book writing for DC. Denny O'Neil is one of those character-driven writers that did Detective Comics for almost decades, came up with Ra's al Ghul, and was an amazing writer and editor. And yeah, just anywhere you can really pull from, try to. Anywhere that you were inspired, like, oh, that's really good, just absorb it, learn from it, keep going.
I love it. And that's why I love asking these questions, because that's what I'm doing too. You know, it's a little bit of a cheat code. So before we let you two
everybody
go,
else to give them your tricks. Yeah.
Before we let you two go, what are you consuming outside of creating? You know, what TV shows are you watching, movies, books that you're reading, video games you might be playing? You know, let us know what you're doing outside of creating. So Dave, what about you?
Just finished up the Miles Morales Spider-Man game with my son. That was a lot of fun. Finished up Monarch Legacy of Monsters not too long ago. That was really, really good. And books, when I say books, I mean comics. Let's be real about this. Knights from Image is fantastic. And any of the, I'm a big 80s kid. So the Transformers book, Cobra Commander, Duke, all of those are so good. So good.
Did you see they're trying to is it Transformers and G.I. Joe, like combine them like for a movie or something? Yeah, that's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, in the comic books right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Johnson has made a whole universe out of it. It is glorious. You should check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, because that sounds that's like my child is just in me is just screaming at that.
That Cobra Commander. I only saw the first one, but oh my god, that was glorious.
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson in general is just amazing. So the fact that they gave him the reins to all this is going well, very
So
well.
Chris, what about you? What are you up to outside of creating comics?
Yeah, I'm watching Warrior again because it just got released on Netflix from HBO, and that is a glorious show that everyone should check out. It was a Bruce Lee concept made into what was it, Cinemax show, but yeah, it's been bounced around everywhere now, and everybody loves it, but nobody can keep it going. Past that, I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom, the Legend of Zelda game. Taking my sweet time about that because that world is gigantic and a massive sky underneath and break. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Comic book wise, I've been reading George Perez's Wonder Woman a lot.
Okay.
I just love that omnibus. Just diving back into it every so often is great. Same thing with Sandman. Neil Gaiman Sandman. Just crack it open. Remember why you love comics. Good stuff.
I love it. For everyone that is watching, right here is the link to check out the Kickstarter for A Flag to Fly issue 2. Be sure to check it out. Be sure to share it on Facebook and Twitter. Anywhere you can put a link, it's 100% free to do. But if you have some money, back it. Get on that early bird special. Save yourself a few bucks and make it happen. Dave, Chris, thank you both for swinging by. This has been an awesome episode. I hope everyone watching has a fantastic Sunday. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.